it comes out, I see it in the news like everyone else. But I did feel uncomfortable with the way you represent the idea of going to these projects.
I blame everybody that's in his circle. They're all millions and they want to be like him.
But the Fresh Prince sets the record straight on where he really stands with Combs, formerly known as Puff Daddy or Puffy early in his career, saying he's not jiggy with the freak-offs or baby oil, in fact.
I don't have to do with Puffy, so y'all can stop.
Fresh off his global rise, Justin Bieber now finds himself tangled in a secret web woven by music's most powerful names: Will Smith, Diddy, Clive Davis, and 50 Cent. With 50 flashing supposed video evidence of what happened behind closed doors, the real story is just heating up. Why is 50 pushing so hard to bring it all to light now? Stay sharp, because the truth runs deeper than you think. From missing late-night texts off Bieber's phone to whispered deals at Hollywood parties, and a single explosive clip insiders claim could flip the music world upside down. Did Will Smith see something he couldn't unsee? Was Clive Davis pulling invisible strings? And what's really at stake for Diddy if the footage leaks? Get ready. Once we dive in, there's no going back.
You pressing Bieber?
Yeah.
Yo, what's up? Like, I'm calling you and answering.
Yeah, that was a low.
That was weird.
That was crazy.
That was weird.
They did not run through Bieber at that point.
Still was pressing him like, why you not answering your phone? Like, yo.
Yeah. Like, I don't got a video of me fingering you.
He wasn't answering for a reason.
He was like, I don't ever want last time because you did things to me. They want to mean something, and what will make them mean something in the environment is if they can connect to the violence. They all want it to make it, so they're gonna make their value in that. And even when the artist becomes successful coming out of that environment, you're gonna have people around him that he feels secure about being around, because he know that when they're traveling to these different neighborhoods that it may be something there, but he knows that this person right here will do it regardless of what. So they bring that person. And without acknowledging it, that person needs them to have altercations for them to need them to be around. That is what is going to potentially bring you down. So when I say that to them, they go, so he's saying it's going to be me that brings me that. Yeah, if you don't adjust and really make the right decisions as you move forward, you are.
Justin might have not been some rebellious pop star going through a, so-called bad boy phase. He was a kid who had been surrounded by powerful figures in the industry, some of whom clearly didn't have his best interests at heart. And that, of course, brings us to Diddy. From the very beginning, Diddy took a special interest in Justin. The extravagant gifts, the 48-hour mentorship, it all seemed like an industry cosign at the time. But looking back, was it really just that, or was there something deeper going on behind the scenes? Then years later, we see Bieber break down in an interview, talking about wanting to protect another young artist, Billie Eilish, from the same things he went through. And now, in the wake of Diddy's arrest, he's reportedly distancing himself completely, staying silent, and doing everything he can to separate himself from that past.
You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are, and that's what the business does.
While Bieber is reportedly having a hard time processing his history with the fallen music mogul, quote, his happiness being a dad has outweighed his anxiety about Diddy. Much remains unclear about Bieber's time with Diddy, and many of these questions may ultimately go unanswered. Online sleuths will surely continue to read between the lines, but for now, speculation is all we have to go on.
To a lot of us, he's like a little brother.
It seems two things are for certain, however. Diddy was once somebody that Bieber looked up to. Now, not so much. What once seemed like a 15-year-old's dream has become a nightmare for everyone involved.
Right from the jump, 50 Cent has been relentless with his trolling, and it all peaked after Will Smith's San Diego concert on December 13th. Mid-performance, Smith abruptly paused to stress, almost desperately, that he had nothing to do with Diddy, distancing himself from the controversy surrounding Diddy after his September arrest. He even joked about not liking baby oil, a not-so-subtle jab at the stash discovered during the March raids on Combs' properties.
Will Smith claps back at memes of him and Sean Diddy Combs and speaks out for the first time about his history with the music mogul. The Oscar winner took the stage at the Observatory North Park in San Diego December 12th, and during a break in the show, the rapper called out memes he'd seen online trolling his past association with Combs, who is currently in jail awaiting trial on sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution charges. Videos of the moment have been posted online showing Will telling the sold-out crowd, "The world we're in right now, it's really hard for y'all to discern what's real and what's true. I've been seeing y'all memes and stuff. Some of it's funny." But the Fresh Prince sets the record straight on where he really stands with Combs, formerly known as Puff Daddy or Puffy early in his career, saying he's not jiggy with the freak-offs or baby oil, in fact.
Raided his house, found all manner of stuff. They found 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Let's be clear here. Diddy is a monster. Diddy is the devil, right? The 1,000 bottles alone was enough for me to lock him up forever. Are you drinking it? 1,000 bottles.
And how does 50 Cent react? Exactly like you'd expect. He flipped that clip, laughed along with the memes he didn't even have to create, and turned it into pure promo for his new Roku channel, 50 Cent Action. But why the sudden heat? Simple. For nearly 20 years, 50 and Diddy have been throwing shots, diss tracks, social media jabs, public digs, and now, with Diddy dealing with a mountain of lawsuits, 50 isn't just stirring the pot, he's going all in.
But the world we're in right now is really hard for y'all to discern what's real and what's true.
Yeah, well, it's hard to tell.
And I've been seeing y'all memes and stuff. People be making memes.
That wasn't me, man.
I see the memes.
I'll put that up there, but that wasn't me.
No, some of the stuff is funny. Some of it's funny.
You like that? That shit's funny, right?
But I haven't addressed any of this publicly, but I just want to say this very clearly. I don't have to do with Puffy, so y'all can stop it.
This is shit to do with Puffy. #1 channel on Roku right now. We out there. What made you think of this? No, I was trying to get ready so I don't have to answer to nobody.
The new lawsuit coming with Jay, the part with Jay. I go, oh shoot, like
Right. To us, black excellence.
that had to be there.
We getting tighter, you know what I'm saying? And united we stand, and ain't nothing else.
Black excellence, they're sitting there like, yeah. It's the billionaire brunch.
Oh,
Like,
I hate you, man.
unaware of anything going on here. This is the one time I'm gonna be with you just this year. Come on, bro.
Hey, this is the funniest thing online right now. 50 Cent every day wake up and take shots at Diddy on Instagram. We all see that, right? Everybody know that 50 Cent loved to poke fun at Diddy being, who Diddy is, allegedly. But this is funny. 50 reposted this on his Instagram. I guess nowadays, instead of kids saying no H-O-M-O, you know how we used to say when we was kids and now it's pause. I think the new thing that kids are saying, that's what the internet is saying, the new thing kids are saying is no Diddy instead of all that stuff. And 50 posted this. Check this out. This is what people saying on Twitter. It says, I put all my guys in positions, no Diddy. So apparently, instead of saying no H-O-M-O, kids are now saying no Diddy. So 50 reposted this on his Instagram and he captioned it this. This is what he said. He said, oh, I F with son. That's my man. No Diddy.
The one with Diddy and Jay-Z walking around with the...
Oh, that I think that's an apps. That's like a little app.
That was AI?
That was AI.
Yeah, you know what I do? I look at it, it comes across my feed and I'm laughing at it. And then I go, oh no. People will fall out if I post that. I'm gonna post that.
But let's take it back. Justin Bieber's rise was pure modern legend. Discovered on YouTube, mentored by Usher and Scooter Braun, and rocketed to teen superstardom. Along that fast track, he crossed paths with Sean Diddy Combs, who showered him with praise, and, according to some, something far darker. 50 Cent's Bombshell. He claims Diddy used Bieber, introducing him to powerful insiders who could make or destroy a career. And 50's not just talking. He's hinting he's got the video to prove it.
We finally got in contact. This guy contacted us named Scooter, who's my manager now, and basically stalked us a little bit, kind of got in contact with us, and finally my mom was calling him back to, say, listen, stop calling me. And he was like, I really see a lot in your son. Like, I can help you guys. And My mom was really skeptical at first, but they ended up talking for a couple hours, and he knew some lawyers that we could talk to and stuff. So we ended up flying to Atlanta free of charge, just for him to check us out and get to know us. And
this is Scooter.
Yes, yeah. This is Scooter, and we ended up signing a deal with Usher a couple months later.
Well, everything from my good friend and brother from another mother, Scooter, Samuel Braun, and just really the philanthropic work that we do as entertainers gives credence, and it actually is evidence that we do give back. A lot of what we do is about fulfilling dreams. Well, that reality goes far and beyond just music. There's tons of people who need access to proper education, and I think that being an advocate for change and proper education, Scooter has definitely done it. And if not only being able to facilitate opportunities along with his brother and introduce Justin Bieber into the really important, valuable.
A victim comes out against Usher, it'll show how egregious this shit is, because if he can be a predator, then anybody can be a predator.
Can't smile in your face the whole time.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, people look at Usher, they don't see that. They're not seeing the victim. They're not seeing that boy that got rushed to the hospital. They're not seeing what the intentions was in his heart when he took Justin Bieber there.
Oh.
Let's be honest. He took Justin Bieber there. Diddy had been trying to get to Bieber for a minute, and his management was backing him off. But it wasn't until Usher took over management and had guardianship and gave temporary guardianship to the diddler for 48 hours. Think about that.
I was gonna just
Justin
ask
Bieber
about
wants
Justin
to talk.
Bieber.
He signed that where a lot of millions he would have to pay if he goes ahead and talks.
Now there was
shout out to Justin. Justin, holler at me. I'll get you all the information. We ain't gotta tell the press. Just get at me, Justin. I want to cry for you and with you, Justin. You did not deserve it. And Usher, you about to get your ass kicked because you took him over there and you knew what Diddy was gonna do to him.
Well, I mentioned that earlier, that he said about Stevie J. The Usher part, that's a touchy situation, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I had a certain feeling, and I felt a certain way when Usher got on Shay Shay, and I don't mean to mention other people's platforms, but he got on Shay Shay and he mentioned how great and how good Puff taught him and everything. You know what I'm saying? About the business, right? I know, and people know, that was around that in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation.
Yeah, it sounds insane. Almost too insane. But it taps straight into a deep fear. That young, hungry talents get played like pawns by powerful figures with money, influence, and no accountability. 50 Cent, no stranger to controversy, made it clear. He's living celibate this year, says he never participated in Diddy's notorious parties, and calls his own lifestyle basic compared to the chaos swirling around Combs.
About P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy.
Yeah.
Did he do it, right?
Yeah.
I know
He did it.
you've been heavy on social media talking about it.
He did it. And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before it actually.
Oh, you've been saying this for a long time now. And then no one was, they're just, why is he saying this? And now it's coming out like crazy. I mean,
But I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
So a lot of the celebrity culture that you don't hear saying anything is because they participated to a degree.
Was there a reason you never went to those parties back in the day? Obviously, I know what was going on there, but is there a reason you never did?
I'm just not with all that freaky shit. All of the stuff that he's doing, I'm not into that type of stuff. I'm just a little more, maybe you could say basic or normal.
Netflix docuseries that you've been working on, Diddy Do It.
Right.
You've been saying for years that you feel you knew Diddy's character.
Right.
Yet you said you weren't a part of that lifestyle, you weren't going to the parties. So what makes you so absolutely sure that these kinds of allegations that we've seen against him are true?
Well, I'm surprised by the allegations, as surprised as everyone else is. Like, I didn't make the allegations. I didn't tell people to say these things. It comes out, I see it in the news like everyone else. But I did feel uncomfortable with the way he would present the idea of going to these projects.
To come party with me.
Yeah. And then that swayed me away from it. Just that alone.
So you didn't realize the...
As much stuff has come, like when I seen today, it was allegations of 3 men that said he drugged them, and it's a long time, to be honest with you. Like, when people don't remember being violated for 20 years.
You're not worried that it comes back your way? Like people dig up your past and try to pull stuff up?
I don't got this shit in my past. I took a pill, but it was for me to perform better. For her to remember, buddy. I didn't give her a drink so she forget what the happened. What the is going on here, bro? Yes, I took the drink. I gave me the drug to perform. So she could remember and possibly love me for that.
Did it work?
What the this is, yo, bro, look, I'm doing pretty good.
Here's where it gets messy. In just a few months, Diddy's been slammed with a wave of accusations, 6 civil suits in 1 week alone, and even more piling up from anonymous claims dating back to the 90s. The Cassie case hit hardest. She accused him of abuse, he denied it, and they settled quietly. Meanwhile, the industry stayed eerily silent. 50 Cent hints why. Tapes seized during raids allegedly show celebrities caught up in the chaos, too scared to speak for fear of being exposed.
And we have breaking news to bring you at this time. Sean Diddy Combs facing 2 additional criminal charges in the sprawling sex trafficking case against him. The new accusations are part of a superseding indictment filed today. Federal prosecutors charge Combs with a new count of sex trafficking and an additional count of transportation to engage in prostitution. That brings the total number of federal charges against Combs to 5. He has pleaded not guilty. His trial in Manhattan federal court is set to start on May 5th.
As Sean Diddy Combs awaits his racketeering and sex trafficking trial in a Brooklyn jail, federal prosecutors now adding 2 more charges to his indictment on Friday. The charges allege the hip-hop mogul forced a woman to engage in sex acts for money as recently as last year, and that Combs helped transport her and others to engage in prostitution. Now, prosecutors say they expect 4 accusers to testify against him at the trial, now set for May. Combs has pled not guilty and denies all charges.
50 Cent just recently did an interview. And during this interview, he says that the reason why people are quiet about Diddy is because they've been to his parties and they don't know what's on tape.
Facts. Feds say they got a video of a male sex worker being sexually assaulted by him, and they trying to identify him from the footage. Think about that.
Are you saying of Diddy?
Yeah.
Y'all want to talk about the parties? Because I know people want to bring up the parties all the time. I'm the one that told you I was there. You didn't find out from any other source. I ain't never been to a freak off. I've never been to any party in Hollywood ever where there was something sexual happening. Ever. So you got to understand what you won't understand, because you're a Christian. Why would you even go to that function? What you don't understand is that it's similar to being invited to a barbecue. A bunch of people going out there in the backyard, having some drinks, talking, engaging, politicking, networking. That's all it was. That's literally what it was. It was nothing chaotic and crazy. I mean, there were so many people there. It's like if I said, hey man, I'm having a little kickback at my house, everybody in Atlanta's invited, and you walk into my house and you see Philip Anthony Mitchell over there and you see T.I. That could be a realistic situation. Would you then condemn Philip Anthony Mitchell for being in the same party with T.I.?
Can you believe we're just weeks away from Diddy going on trial? And the stakes are high. Not only has Diddy been in jail since his September arrest, but it's officially confirmed his ex-girlfriend Cassie is expected to take the stand to testify against him. She won't be testifying under the moniker Jane Doe. Instead, she's planning on using her own name. However, federal prosecutors say Diddy's other alleged victims won't be doing the same. I'm Elizabeth Milner with Law and Crime. Our analysts have suspected for a while that Cassie Ventura is indeed victim number 1. Now, the allegations laid out in Diddy's federal indictment match almost to a T her federal lawsuit against her ex, which was settled a day after filing. But since then, Diddy has faced 2 more superseding indictments, and now more victims have been added. But federal prosecutors say testifying under their real names would cause them significant embarrassment, anxiety, and social stigma.
So, why now? Why is 50 Cent unleashing all this chaos through a high-stakes documentary? Partly because the legal pressure around Diddy is tightening. He's pleaded not guilty, been denied bail 3 times, and faces trial in May 2025. But it's also smart business. In the streaming era, explosive exposés mean clicks, subscribers, and serious money. 50's already teasing interviews with insiders from those wild parties, promising they'll finally speak up, without fear holding them back.
Out of line where you said, I think this guy likes men, or I think he likes certain things that's a little weird?
Well, he didn't start off like that. I'm quite sure somebody taught him that, and that's more deep in the industry. You guys who got involved with a lot of people who was their mentors, it was done to them, they do to the next person. So I felt that Puffy was a regular, normal guy. It goes on and on. Where did it start from? Major executives who run these labels.
That's actually very insightful for you to give that perspective. So if you're saying what Diddy did to Usher or what Diddy did to Bieber, that we've seen these videos, not necessarily what he did, but the stories where he's living with them at 13. If he was their mentor, who was Diddy's mentor? We know some of the big names. I'm just curious if you have any names.
Well, number one was Clyde Davis. I walked in Jimmy's office. I didn't have to knock on the door or get somebody let Jimmy know Mr. Night there. Walk right in. He do the same. Anyway, when he walked in my office, we was having a conversation. He overheard somebody say something he probably shouldn't have heard. He wanted to holler at me. So I tell the homies, give me a minute. Jimmy said, man, I'm here because Clyde Davis called me, and him and Puffy is real tight, and, lovers. So I thought he was talking about like they got love for each other. So, all right. He said, yeah, they are lovers. I said, well, why you keep saying that? I said, look, you saying they lovers like they're sucking? He said, I don't want to say that, but that's what it means, right? I said, okay. He said, Clyde don't want nothing to happen to Puffy. He said, but this guy ain't going to be able to do his business because we know what he did. What they did.
I opened up myself to the possibility of a person rather than a gender. I have never stopped being attracted to women. So we're now dealing with the subject of bisexuality. This subject is very misunderstood because the old adage is you're either gay, you're straight, or you're lying. It's just not true.
What makes this different? 2 things. First, the scale. If 50 Cent's sources are legit, this isn't about a few shady moments. It's decades of grooming, promises of fame twisted into leverage, and victims too scared to speak. Second, the public faces involved. Will Smith, the once untouchable superstar. Diddy, a mogul whose empire stretched across music, fashion, and more. And Clive Davis, the legendary kingmaker who shaped modern pop itself.
Thank you. Now let's get to a few of this morning's other big headlines.
Starting with a bombshell announcement amid the mounting lawsuits against Sean Diddy Combs, Houston rapper 50 Cent announced yesterday that he's the executive producer of a docu-series about the sexual assault and allegations against Combs. The series will also discuss the sex trafficking and racketeering charges Combs is facing. The series is expected to make a premiere on Netflix, but a date has not yet been set.
Yeah, and you know what? I think a lot of people thought that 50 was just trolling, and if anyone follows 50 on Twitter or Instagram, he's no stranger to that. He definitely, engages in trolling and makes a lot of jokes. So when he had, repeatedly taken shot after shot after shot at Diddy and then said, hey, I'm working on a documentary, I think a lot of people thought that he was just joking around. It turns out he's not. So this is actually a real project that's being made under his G-Unit movie and TV studio, and he's made a bunch of really successful projects under that banner. They were actually selling it around to different streaming, organizations, including Netflix. Netflix ultimately had the most money, placed the winning bid, and at some point here in the future, we don't know exactly when, but this is actually going to be something that airs on Netflix.
So it's not like he hate Diddy, but sometimes niggas might do that we don't know about.
Well, for him to make the documentary, I think he hates Diddy.
Nah. That's business.
That's just business?
Business. You wouldn't be mad. Look,
you gotta really dislike someone to do a documentary about him.
If Jimmy Iovine did the documentary, would people say he's mad at Diddy?
But all of this leaves one massive question hanging. What did Bieber really know? Was he aware of the shadows moving behind the scenes, or just another kid chasing a dream? And how much did his inner circle, Usher, Scooter Braun, even Will Smith, know while looking the other way? Here's the final question. After everything, can we still hear the hits the same way? Will we still roar when Bieber steps on stage? Or will we finally demand accountability from the icons we've put on pedestals?
Ray J is now back in the headlines after appearing in TMZ's latest documentary, The Downfall of Diddy, Inside the Freak-Offs. During an interview for the doc, he said, quote, "I'm hearing about artists paying victims to keep their names out of it." He's basically saying some celebrities out there were involved in Diddy's freak-offs and they're trying to pay off survivors. This part isn't entirely new information. We always knew Diddy had a lot of celebrities in his sphere, from the white parties with Leo DiCaprio and Ashton Kutcher to his past relationships with singers Jennifer Lopez or Cassie. But in more recent weeks, we've learned that some celebrities were also involved in these illegal freak-offs, and in at least one case with an underage victim.
I believe it's a lot of rappers, a lot of music people, a lot of executives that could not say no. Cat Williams say, you just gotta say no to Diddy. And it's a lot of people that couldn't say no. And they probably on tape because they couldn't say no.
So you think it's possible that Diddy, he got footage of rappers in the stash, just in case he got to use it for blackmail?
It's a possibility. It's not far-fetched. If he was taping Cassie and he was having Cassie taped and everything like that, why wouldn't he do nobody else? She's the only one? I doubt it.
You know what I mean? Like,
but I saw some shit about Bieber, like that Diddy groomed him. I saw it on YouTube recently. Is that shit real?
I don't know, bro. Like, Diddy in and of himself is an interesting character. Yeah. My barber, rest in peace, Caesar, was actually his barber. The parties in South Beach and fucking Star Island like that. If you speak to anybody in Miami or any of the industry that's been in this, it's no secret the amount of like weird sexual shit going on there, the amount of extreme abuse going on yards. It's no secret.
Yeah.
Like there is no secret there. It's out in the open. It's just no one kind of speaks on it because of the constant repercussions.
They did him dirty, but now the world is watching, and the story is far from finished. Is 50 Cent really sitting on the ultimate smoking gun clip? Or is Curtis Jackson just playing the long game, trolling his way to clicks and clout by taking down the industry's titans?
Nervous around them because I was in the email and I saw some things in a personal email that threw me off guard.
Like what?
I don't want to go into details right now, but it just threw me off guard. You know what I mean? To make me be like, you know what I mean? Like I understand you crying now and of the trauma that you've seen, but what about me, bro? Mm-hmm. Like, what about the trauma you put me through when I read that email?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why it's just not like Sean that's guilty. They're all fucking guilty, man. Like, and I don't just put the blame on Sean. I blame everybody that's in his circle. They're all millions and they want to be like him.
So I'd like to know why, and if it has something to do with Diddy, then again, what I'm wondering is when the deal is, when this benevolent man who's now had a change of heart and has decided to pay us as talent and also as writers, we're credited with publishing. So basically, we only get the amounts due since Sony bought our catalog.
Okay.
So streaming for the past couple years, it's about $800, $900, some in the hundreds, okay? And in order to get that, I have to release him for any claims or wrongdoings or actions prior to the date of the release.